Yeah, here's one more deal, right? When I asked them, I said we would like to, at least explain to people. If you don't plant, then we like to explain to people about the fallen trees. We don't, no, we don't get that technical with people. We don't get that technical with people. No, we don't do that. They just promote cutting the wood out. Well, sir, this book right here, excuse me, it's called Tree Basics. This book is geared for sixth grade students on up. This book contains what everyone should know about trees. There's a list of questions on our website that you should be able to answer. One of them is the differences between a woody root and a woody stem. Well, I mean, they're using the thought that this information is so technical that it's above everybody's head. We did this every tree biology. If you ever attended a true tree biology workshop, there is absolutely no way you would have left without putting a piece of a stem and a piece of a woody root together under a microscope and count the anatomy differences that you see for yourself. Okay? That's sixth grade student stuff. This information in this book. Okay? This is nothing foreign, especially for someone that is supposed to be an expert. Barks. How does bark form? What are you on, crack? No, I just did my homework, and it's Michael Rise and Michael Huza. Who's it? Is Michael Haza? These are your non-woody absorbing roots. This is mycorrhizae, plural. Yeah. Look, mycorrhiza, root hairs. Okay, you never say root hair. You never see a root hair. You see root hairs. Texas U's are a good one for those. Mycorrhiza, singular, non-woody absorbing root. When these are alive and well and growing, trees can absorb water and essential elements dissolved in that water. Okay? When there are not non-woody absorbing roots because of a seriously dry summer after summer, okay? In the fall, in the last tree biology workshops, the students that would go out into the woods, it was predominantly, traditionally cleaned out, came back with their bags that were supposed to have collected non-woody absorbing roots, possibly root hairs, and mycorrhizae, to be placed underneath the microscope so that they could identify it. The professor would come by, look at their drawings and what they labeled to make sure that they were seeing what they were supposed to be seeing, so that when they went back to their country, they would have the basic anatomy to be able to base decisions upon that and build on it. But this is the foundation. There were no non-woody absorbing their bags. Every single person that went out into the wooded area, I wouldn't call it a forest. Would you call it a forest without a tree? Well, there was no fallen trees. That's not a forest. There was every student that went out into the wooded area that was cleaned out came back with zero living, functioning, growing, non-woody roots and mycorrhizae. 2 years in a row, after those severe summer droughts, from 1999 for 10 years, we had serious droughts every summer of different types. Okay, and this was in the fall when normally especially in Boone, North Carolina, my gosh, the places would flourish. You know, it's not that there would be a difficulty finding non-woody absorbing roots, but when you had those dry summers come fall, they weren't there. They either didn't form or they were aborted. It could rain in the fall a great deal, and without the growing non-woody roots. Trees only absorb water when the roots are growing. Trees only absorb water when the roots are growing. Trees only absorb water when the roots are growing. There was no non-woody roots to be found. My wife and I would come back with bags full. Well, how was that? I knew it was a fallen tree that nobody removed. And it was like a sponge. So you think water's important? Yeah. It's not only important, it has to be there when it's required. And if it's not, there's a problem. We used to think dormancy meant everything stopped all winter. Now that's a little bit technical for preferred hardwoods, okay? Because the work that hasn't been done is the work that is difficult. Like going out into the outdoors in New Hampshire in the dead winter, digging below ice and breaking through with tools to bring up living, growing, functioning, absorbing roots with root hairs with round nucleuses. Dr. Shigo is willing to look. Now they don't know how to define. That's too much for preferred right now. But that's the thing. You know? Man require, yeah, so what do you do? You separate the forest from the tree farms. Whoa! Words. Tree farmers would require help because their trees still require water during dry times. And by thinning out the trees and removing the wood, you don't provide any additional water during dry times when there is no water for any of those trees. Now, if you cut a couple of trees, if there was no nurse logs and you left some 4 foot by 2 foot sections, bigger, then down the road you would have a sponge. And during those droughts, you would have most likely, and I prophesize this, non-woody absorbing roots within the sponges of these nurse logs. We call them nurse logs. I have a thing on the website, Johnny the Nurse Log versus the U.S. Forest Service, John Plummer, the supervisor. The supervisor of the Allegheny National Forest several years ago, we did a street theater. I dressed up as a nurse log, Johnny the Nurse Log, and I pulled out of my branch cord that I had picked up mycorrhizae, which was on the inside and a living non-woody root, and I presented it to the Forest Service supervisor, who thought I was from outer space, along with what I was showing. He didn't know trees had funguses or something. I don't know. The point is, it would be in our best interest, people, humans, to stop making decisions based on ignorance of tree biology, board foot, and what have you. Decisions require to be made out of an understanding of tree biology. Okay? That means you accept the fact that cutting the wood out of a forest, a highly ordered arrangement of living organisms living in, on, and around trees, in such a highly ordered fashion that assures high quality survival for all parties. That be trees that are dying, living, dead. The main theme of a tree is build up and break down. They're either building up or breaking down or doing both at the same time, okay? We never see them. You will never see the main theme. You only see variations to that theme. And each ecological stage of composition as well as decomposition there is a functioning component of that tree that makes up the ecosystem that we call a forest. When we remove them, we break connections. That's the honesty. That's the truth. If you want to go on and continue to forget all this and worry about your money problems and keep thinking that if we don't cut the wood out, we're in trouble, or this, that, or the other, or that we're increasing the health of the forest, because nobody has seen that happen yet. And I said, sir, we don't have time for it all. You know, they don't have time for this. They don't have time. They don't have time. They've got a deadline. They've got a lot of people coming in January that they have to promote this. What do you want to call it? Logging. It's what it is. When will people stop? When will you get in touch with reality? You take the wood away, you take away the water reservoirs of either now or the future. Dry times come, dry times go. It's a dynamic equilibrium nature. And you don't want to balance. Balance is equalization of opposing forces. Everything stops, that's death. You become balanced once in your life. I saw on Coffee Talk about the brain being balanced. Balanced? Do you want to be balanced? You become balanced once in your life. If nature ever became balanced, we'd be in big trouble. Whatever. Tree Basics by Dr. Alex L. Shigo. This book, Modern Arboriculture, New Tree Biology, if you're interested, you probably are. I'm sure Preferred Hardwoods isn't listening to this, are you? Because you don't have time. But if you're with Preferred Hardwoods or any other utilization group and you want to learn a little bit, I have a few of these books sitting around collecting dust. Okay? I'd be glad to give you one, if I still have one, if you're interested. And we can go page by page right here. You want to do that? Page by page. We'll go through this. Any questions, I'll do my best to answer. I don't have all the answers. But my gosh, anatomy? Come on. Oh, I'm a Mr. Know-It-All. No, I know a little. And the little bit that I know, you know what? Some of it's correct. Peace out.